Hi, today at Entrepreneur, we have with us Mr. Ashish Kumar, founding partner Fundamentum. Ashish, thank you so much for talking to us on Entrepreneur today. So, Ashish, we've just finished the financial year, and how has the year been? I mean, are you still making fewer bets at Fundamentum, or you've gone all across for making larger bets?
So last financial year has been amazing for us. I think we have been a lot more active, Punita, than what we usually have been, right? So, our typical mandate kind of where we investing into 2 to 3 new companies every year. But if I look at, let's say, last 12 months or so, we have invested in maybe 6 companies actually, right? So we have been a lot more active there. And so predominantly because what has happened is that we invest in around Series BC kind of landscape, right? And I think 2022-23 time was not necessarily the best time from a deal flow from a Series BC perspective, right? But I think with 2024-25, I think has been outstanding time because of maybe 2 or 3 things that are happening. One is that the companies which started maybe 2021-22, they actually went through the stage of peak valuation.
Correct.
Then they went through a little bit of correction, and now we think that the right DNA is in place, right? There are right founders actually which are running the companies and for the right reasons, right? They're a lot more capital efficient as compared to how they were, let's say, 3 years, 4 years back or so, right? So that's something that has happened. The second thing that has also happened is that especially in the last 2-3 years, there have been multiple IPOs that have happened, right? So people also have a particular template on how to think about a company right from starting to kind of creating a liquidity event or creating a public enterprise, and these public enterprises will also continue to be there for the next, let's say, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? So the founders are a lot more in the right shape of mind and right frame of mind, thinking that what does it require to build a business, and they're just a lot more ready.
And going forward, I mean, are there any set numbers in terms of how many investments you'll be making or any specific sectors you'll be eyeing?
So we will continue to, our typical speed is to maybe do one investment maybe every quarter or 4 months or so, right? So that if you look at it like that kind of makes it around 3 to 4 companies 3 to 4 new companies per annum, right? And our typical check is around, let's say, $10 to $15 million, and then there will be some follow on in the previous portfolio company that we could also. So total maybe anywhere between $60 to $80 million is what we end up deploying at the current pace that we are doing. So we will continue to do that, right? There will always be a little bit of a variations because $60 to $80 million is still a like a number where we could go up by maybe 10-15% and go down also by 10-15%. But more or less, I think we should be in that range.
Are there any specific sectors you'll be investing in?
So we look at, I think the way we look at world is twofold, right? So one is what we call as linear compounding based returns, right? So these are the companies, let's say, which will be B2B transaction space, B2B commerce, fintech, financial services, right? So those are some of those companies which we that is something that we continue to look at because we think there's a predictable way for these companies for us to invest in them and they to create a path to IPO in a 4, 5, 6 year time period, right? So that we will continue to do that. The second one is that which typically creates a even higher alpha, right? Which typically will be consumer companies. They will exhibit, let's say, a new consumer behavior. I'll give you examples of maybe a couple of companies that we have done, right? So one company that we have invested in is called Wishlink, which is in the creator commerce space, right? So creator commerce is not something that you and I probably knew about it 5 years back as an example. This is a newer generation which has a different consumer behavior on how they buy stuff, right? And similarly, there is another company that we have invested in called Apps for Bharat, and they run a devotional technology platform, right? So it was very interesting for us to find out that there are a lot more younger people who are using these services in a digital manner. And it was surprising to us primarily because we thought maybe devotion is a chapter which is only for people, let's say, beyond 40 and something like that, right? But what we learned was that if you think about world today, the kids become independent a lot more sooner than probably what you and I kind of became, right? And which means that they have to solve. When you become independent sooner, you also start seeing problems that maybe your parents did not face through, right? Which means that you cannot go back to your parents to solve those problems. They have to solve their problems themselves. And sometimes, faith, devotion, spirituality is one way to kind of do it. So there are a lot of users actually in these platforms. So these are some of the new consumer behaviors that we see, and which can create a very large alpha. There's a third company that we have, which is in the audio technology or audio OTT space called Kuku FM. Kuku FM, right? So Pocket FM and Kuku FM are basically in the same industry.
Yeah.
They are competing with each other, right? Competing in some way, not competing in some way, because their focus is also a little two different geographies. But yeah, those are some of the examples.
Okay, interesting. And is AI also a segment that you are looking at?
So AI, and this is a topic very close to my heart, Punita, right? So AI has, the way I look at it, there are two types of businesses that are being created. One business is where there are consumer businesses which will use AI and to improve efficiency, right? So let's say there's a digital platform and consumer platform which have the distribution, and they were initially using people or different technologies to be able to create that content, as an example, right? Now you could use that AI to effectively make your system far more efficient and maybe generate a lot more content than what humans could do, as an example. And there are similar examples in other consumer distribution business that will be there. The second one is that the companies which will be creating AI and selling AIs, right? Sort of what the foundational models have done.
Right.
I think the first bucket, there are plenty of these companies now in India. I think we are in a very, very good place. In the second one, I think we are still in the making. I don't think we have too many companies truly doing differentiated stuff on actually creating AI infrastructure, which is what will be required for people to do that. I think we are in early days there.
So on that note, we conclude the interview. Thank you.
Thank you so much.